Okay, welcome back. So in this final video, I just want to go over a couple examples of the subjunctive of potential, or the potential subjunctive. So like I introduced in the beginning section, it really is about this hypothetical or situation or something that isn't necessarily true or ever will be true. But another way, and perhaps the easier way of understanding this, is the potential subjunctive is essentially just the then part of a condition without the if. So oftentimes when you're translating these and reading these, you could understand the potentiality of it could be expressed also with an if clause as well. So I've put a few different little pieces as well just to sort of express that in the examples. There's a few different terms and ideas just to sort of think about, and then we'll jump into the examples. So the first thing to note, though, is that even though we're dealing with a subjunctive here, like I said before, nay is typically the way of negating a subjunctive, but these potential clauses are sort of an exception to this rule. So our negative particle is known, and what this has to do with is it's the then part. And when you start learning the conditions as well in Latin, you'll see that this is pretty consistent. The then part of a condition is also negated with a known. It doesn't have the hypothetical nature of the nay. So, but we'll see the three sort of key words that you can think about when translating these potentials is may, might, and would. So these are our English words that really express this idea of modality, something that is hypothetical or might possibly or could be or would be possible, but isn't necessarily true. So these are sort of our go-to words for thinking about how to translate these. And then to illustrate sort of some of these examples, I want to just talk about what exactly the point in time these things take place and what implication that has on our examples. So for potentials that are in the present or the future, we can express those with either the present subjunctive or sometimes the perfect subjunctive, but it is most commonly the present. But what this really expresses is something that is somewhat definite. It's something that is still possible. It isn't necessarily completed, but it's not quite completely true. So if you were to sort of think of this along a spectrum or on a timeline again, or a line, the potential with the present or perfect subjunctives are sort of, if this were definiteness and this were completely indefinite, the present subjunctives are somewhere around here, whereas indicative statements are over here. So it's something that's definitely taking place or definitely will, versus our past or our imperfect or pluperfect subjunctives, which tend to be in this direction. And this is really what the use of the subjunctive in many instances is all about. It is how definite or how likely is this thing to take place? Is it somewhere in the middle? Is it never, ever, ever going to take place? Is it just indefinite, never did, never will? Or is it something that is definitely going to happen? So this might be just a helpful way to sort of visualize or express these ideas of what the subjunctive is doing. Without further ado, let's take a look at just a few of these examples to get us started. So I've just given a couple different ways of starting this. Dicam or dixerim, equos porcis pulchriores esse. So I would say, or I would have said, um, that horses are more beautiful than pigs, which I think is a pretty objective fact. Maybe not to some people, but for the most part, I would say so. But the idea here, at least grammatically, is that decom is this present subjunctive, and it's saying that potentially, I would say, it isn't necessarily true entirely, but it's fairly definite that pigs are more beautiful than horses. Than horses are more beautiful than pigs. Um, so this is one potential, somewhat definite way of describing this. So note that if I said it with deco, this is just a statement of fact. I say declaratively, I declare that horses are more beautiful than pigs. But when you sort of draw back the line of present subjunctive to imperfect to pluperfect, you start sort of peeling away this level of definiteness and assurance in whatever the statement is. So I might say, or I would say, maybe on some days, but maybe on other days I wouldn't say this. But the idea is still fairly the same. Um, and also I added this hypothetical part as well, the if part of the condition. You could say maybe, if you asked me what I thought, I would say that yada, yada, yada. So, all right. And then I want to look at a couple more examples just of our imperfect subjunctive and pluperfect. So in this example, the brother, the frater, was thinking, or would think, that gladiators are more happy than soldiers. And so as we refer back to our little line up here, I think this is taking place sort of in this indefinite area. It's something that is not necessarily what the brother thinks, but it could be. So the brother was thinking that gladiators are happier than soldiers. He would have thought this, but he doesn't now. So I think this contrary to fact idea here, this fact that it isn't necessarily something that he does think, it's an indefinite thing. It is just sort of a complete supposed possibility, but it isn't necessarily true. This is I think the idea behind the imperfect subjunctive. And then I think it makes a bit of sense to sort of compare this with the pluperfect subjunctive as well, because I think it helps to sort of clarify what exactly is going on in terms of time. So when we look at this example of the pluperfect, I have fuissem here, ab hinc multos annos divitissimus fuissem. So many years ago, I would have been a very rich man, but I am not now. So this is also something that's taking place in the past, but it's something that is definitely not. So I would have been a very rich man many years ago, but I wasn't then, and I'm not now. So this is the idea really that's being expressed by the pluperfect. It's something that is contrary to fact. It's something that is completely indefinite and was also happening in the past. So as you can see, the potential ideas can get a bit more complicated than the other ones. We're starting to sort of move somewhat into the realm of conditions, and I think this is really what's getting into. This is sort of what potential subjunctives hint at, because this is one of the many applications as well of the subjunctives and dependent clauses. But potentials, really I guess the difference, so as not to confuse you, is potentials stand on their own. They don't necessarily need this if part. They don't need anything else. They just sort of represent this independent idea. And if we were just to sort of sum up all of the main ideas that we've gone over so far, whether it's a wish, a deliberation, an exhortation, all of these things are at their heart independent. They don't rely on some other part of speech. They don't have a main clause. They just occur on their own. So we'll see, especially as you go on in your studying of Latin, dependent subjunctives are also a quite lucrative area of learning subjunctives. We're not going to be focusing on those this semester, but they add quite a bit more of a layer of detail and really help expand the language and create a very interesting and helpful thing for really a place for expressing complicated thoughts and ideas. So hopefully this video helped. If you have any questions, I'll be making a few more videos on working on homework examples, hopefully to clarify some of these ideas. But overall, I think I'll go ahead and end the video here. But thank you and have a good day.